If you were to ask me what would be the three things or less that would make a shop go from doing what they're doing to making a lot more money, it would be the following. So you guys have heard me go on rants about training equals wealth, and there's a specific types of training that leads to more skill, and then skill leads to production, and production leads to money. So training comes from time, which is what you're spending here right now. God bless you. You're absolutely killing it. And, essentially this time converts into what value? This is value that you're giving to the world, to the customer, and so on and so forth. So that all said, what would be the first form of training that I would do in order to increase a shop's production? And this is a no-brainer. You guys have heard me talk about the circle of sales, and sales fixes everything. And the first training that I would always give people is, I'm going to grab the big boy marker for this one, is sales fixes everything. And what I mean by that is if you just sell enough volume, you can cover pretty much all the sins that you'll commit. And sales, this is the circle of sales. We've talked about this 1,000 times. If this is the first time seeing it, I'll just go over it real quick. The circle of sales says that speed, because this is what selling is, right? This is just sales. Speed is 50%. And then, you can argue about what is the other size, but I would tell you that about another quarter of that is just the right size. And what I mean by the right size is don't go straight to over $600. The $600 is the first pitch. And if you get the first pitch, you're going to get the second as long as you keep hitting sizes. And then we could argue about, the pitch, how to present the ticket, and then the right part, selling the part that is relevant to the concern of the customer. So, that's really the circle. So if I were to say, Zane, what is the most important thing that you want to train on? I would say speed, and speed is 50% of the sales, therefore speed is equal to sales, right? If you say speed is 51%, then all of sales comes from speed, and speed comes from a sense, I'm going way off there, sense of urgency. Got too excited. Urgency. Sense of urgency is speed, and speed is sales, and sales fixes everything. Sense of urgency comes from what? It comes from culture. When everybody thinks that we're all on the same page, that's where sense of urgency comes from, and that's what causes speed. Speed is equal to sales. Sales fixes everything. And if you have enough culture, which means you're training, right? A culture of training, a culture of improvement, a culture of knowing that the customer is our boss and that sales fixes everything. If you can get that culture, you will absolutely get understanding. And if a customer comes in, if you want to go over what speed really is, essentially, a customer has to see you rush. They have to see you rush, right? See you. You have to hit the times. The first pitch must be done within the first 15 minutes and under $600. And then knowing that the second pitch, you really have about another hour, and then you should keep it around $800. The third pitch, which by the way, this is ISO, this is initial, you're going to learn all of that. Third pitch is again within an hour to an hour and a half, right? 1.5 hour. And again, you do $800, and you do further ISO here, and then you do a PMI, which fourth you're doing here, and again you can do 1 to 2 hours on that. You can do another $800, and that gives you a PMI. And if you close all of that, really, if you do the math on this is $3,000 broke car ARO, call that BARO, right? Broke car average repair order. And essentially this is actually a broke car average quote, but if you close all of that, then you're $3,000 on every car. And if you can do that, again, at the backbone of this whole process is what? Is sense of urgency, it's speed. Because none of this matters if you don't hit the times. If you don't hit the times, you're not going to have the opportunity to even pitch these amounts. And this is why speed, if your speed goes down, right? If your speed goes down, meaning you're not calling the customers within these time, the average quote will go down, AWRO, or the broke car ARO goes down, which makes the ARO go down, and which makes your total sales go down, which makes you upset. Because what? Your check is now small, and you're wondering whether you're in the right field. And I'll tell you, you are in fact in the right field. You're just not moving at the right pace, or you're not focusing on speed. And the speed happens when you focus on it. Focus on it. Count it. You're like, hey, did we call this car within the right time? Did we get that car in as fast as we could have? Hey, are we late on this one? Audit yourself. You're not going to get speed by accident. And that's a huge part of it, guys. I told you 50% of training is literally sense of urgency. And if you can do that, I promise you running a shop is not that hard. So honestly, speed is equal to sales. Then just make sure you pitch the right size, and then you do it in the right order. And if you can do that, you're going to improve your average RO 7 days a week and twice on Sunday. I hope this helps. Thank you very much for everything. And we're going to move further into some training. Thank you.